Overall, I'd rather be white in this position. I don't know. It feels like we can't really break through here, but we're going to do our best. No. Oh, no. Oh, man, that was really bad. Welcome to day 481 of Road to 2000. We are currently 1867. Let's jump into another game. All right, opponent is 1965, pretty strong. And they start off with Queen's Pawn. I'm going to answer back with Queen's Pawn. I've played around with some King's Indian setups in the past, and I feel like I get very cramped positions. All right, this is already kind of a surprise. Pawn to f4. Okay, I'm going to reply with bishop f5. This might be a little risky, like the bishop maybe is going to get antagonized later on. But we'll see. I'd like to get my bishop outside of the pawn chain, so that's the plan. Okay, so we have knight f3. I'll go pawn e6, continuing development. And if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. And the goal of my channel is to help spread the love of chess and to help you guys become better chess players. With the Road to 2000 series, it's still meant to be very educational. It's tracking my own journey, but I also still try to teach as we go along. For the live commentary games like this one where I'm playing in real time, my new strategy with my commentary is to make my move and then explain the move instead of explaining all my thoughts, because then the videos get a little too long. So with that, we have pawn to e3, and I'm going to think for a second. All right, let's go knight f6, continuing development. I'm not sure if I want to play knight c6 or pawn c6. They might throw in a check at some point. So I'm leaving that option open, and then I'm going to decide where to put this bishop and then castle. Doing our chores, as I say, every game. These are the fundamentals that you need to abide by if you want to play winning chess. So develop all of your pieces, utilize your whole army against your opponent, try to be efficient, try not to move the same piece in the opening more than once if you can. So we have a bishop d3. I'm going to start with knight e4. I kind of am just violating the rule I just said of moving this piece twice, but I think this is a good square for the knight. If they develop, I can take. I was actually also fine with them taking my bishop here and allowing this, because then I'd have this rook on this weak pawn, or eventually I'll get a rook on this weak pawn for the rest of the game. So yeah, we might end up with a position something like that later on. So opponent castles. Let's go bishop e7. E7 or d6? If we go bishop d6, we could go here. Let me think. Let's go bishop d6. I'm not sure which is better there. Also, I started the journey at about 1700, so it's taking a little longer than expected, maybe to reach 2000. But if you guys want to learn more about my journey, you can check out episode 50, where I did a deep dive of my progress so far, or lack of progress. So opponent goes pawn to c3, solidifying their pawn chain. This is kind of like a Stonewall Attack setup. Often in that opening, they're going to do Greek gift sacrifices on the h7 pawn, but that's not very possible here because I have a lot of pieces clogging this diagonal. All right, let's go ahead and castle, keep developing. I'm getting a little lower on the clock, so I have 11 minutes. Opponent has 14 minutes. Okay, opponent goes knight e5. I'm going to play f6 here. Never play f6, as Ben Feingold says, but in this situation, it just kicks his knight out. And this shows the difference between my knight has kind of a true outpost here, where neither pawn on these files can touch this knight because they're already too far advanced. So that's a slight difference in our position. And that's why you have to be a little bit careful with throwing pawns out. It also weakens the king a little bit. But here, my diagonal is still pretty shut down, so my king is still relatively safe, even though we have played f6. And I might swing the knight here. Let's think and then explain. Yeah, let's go knight d7, helping prepare this break. Also, at some point, I might want to bring this knight to f6 to help further clamp on this outpost on e4. And as always, guys, if you would have done anything different in this game, comment down below, put a timestamp, or if you have a question on why I did something or didn't do something, just let me know. Okay, so opponent goes knight to h4, which I had been a little bit worried about before, but it wasn't possible because my queen defended, but now the pawn blocks. So kind of good move by white. It is annoying. Definitely annoying. I'm going to go bishop g6. I don't like it. They're going to double my pawns either way. There's just no escape. But this is, I think, slightly less bad just because of the pawn structure. It would have been very... I would have felt very stuck if they took here and then I recapture. I never have a pawn break in the center. And this pawn is like... I'd have two pawns here, and this pawn is kind of like preventing my queen from ever jumping out. I mean, I guess, you know, I could slide out this way or something, but let's go for this. The problem here is the g6 pawn is going to be kind of a long-term weakness. The queen comes in. My plan is maybe king f7. Let's see. Yeah, let's go king f7. We can also use the h-file with the rook for some attacking ideas. It is problematic, though, that like it's just hard for me to defend this pawn. So maybe we want to go like rook h8 and then rook h6, helping defend, and then we can like bring the other rook, come stack, some stuff like that. Trying to utilize all these pieces that are currently not being utilized. Okay, so they want to trade off my knight. Okay, I'm going to go f5 and then bring the knight back is my plan. f5, getting a tempo on the queen. Queen has to move. And then we've now created a square where this knight can escape to. So let's do that. Knight f6. But they want to bring their knight in. So knight f3, the idea of knight somewhere. It's pretty painful. And I'd kind of have to give up the bishop. I can't go knight takes because then I get forked. Not ideal. And my king is getting x-rayed by this. Like this file might kind of clear out soon. So yeah, not ideal. But this is not a very good bishop, so I wouldn't mind trading it off for their knight. Let's go rook h8, stay good on the clock. If they come in, we take. If they come in, I guess I move. Yeah, I mean, it looks a little scary, but I think it's actually not that bad. And then we're going to untangle something like this, get the rook over. They're going to play h3 at some point, but yeah, I think we're like relatively okay. Let's see if white has anything up their sleeve. They are 100 elo higher than us, so. Okay, we have pawn to c4. This sack is actually kind of interesting with the knight coming in. The problem might be, so if we sack, king takes, check, king comes back. The problem, even if we get the queen over, I think they have knight to h3, which clogs the h-file, so. And I don't want to go knight here right away. They just push, and then my knight has to move. And I don't want them to trap my bishop. So let's go. Well, yeah, let's go bishop, pawn to c6. If they push, we step back, it's no problem. If they take, then it's a little more dicey. I think we probably take with the e pawn. My king is like definitely a little bit sketch, but they don't really have a good breakthrough in that position. And if they, by taking with the e pawn, we would keep like these diagonals more closed, or I guess this diagonal more closed, which would hopefully help me stay safer. And it keeps the c file also closed. So we'll see. Overall, I'd rather be white in this position. Okay, opponent goes bishop d2. Okay, I was looking at like knight h7 ideas. The problem is they can just go back. I can't really push. They can just take, and it's kind of too solid. Let's go rook h5. I'm getting low on the clock now, so I have 5 minutes. Opponent has 13 minutes. They're playing pretty fast, and I'm also talking a lot. So yeah, I mean, this isn't like a real threat. I consider the sack, but I just don't think it works because eventually they have knight h3. But it does feel like I have some initiative here. You know, I considered this also, but again, like pawn h3, and I actually even considered knight f6 in that position before I move this rook. And if they take, then I take with the other knight, threatening this pawn. Or no, sorry, then the pawn would be gone. But I just didn't see like a mating idea there or anything. Like they can just go again, knight h3, and everything seems like pretty locked down. But yeah, let me know in the comments if I'm missing some attacking ideas here. And we're playing Napoleon Bonaparte, who is apparently an actual chess player, supposedly quite good. Daniel Naroditsky talked about Napoleon in one of the speedrun episodes that like it was a little bit contested of how good of a player he was or not. Like maybe some games were kind of faked. We aren't totally sure is how I remember that, but it sounded like he was a very good chess player, which is interesting. Okay, we have pawn c5. Let's go for the pretty immediate bishop c7 to conserve time. Very immediate pawn to b4, maybe for this type of threat, pawn b5. Let's just swing the queen over, so queen h8. At some point, we could also maybe sack the exchange and get some ideas that way. Could also stack up like this and then go like knight g4. Even if they play h3, I don't know. We need to like somehow be able to like, I don't know. It feels like we can't really break through here, but we're going to do our best. Like maybe this knight needs to go here. This knight needs to go here. This knight needs to come in. Like, I don't know. It could get crazy. But notice that this is a very closed position, and that's why my king is like relatively safe in the middle. Like white just, there's no real diagonals open, at least not yet. There's no open files this way, not yet. So like from that perspective, like we own the only open file on the board, and it's pointed at white's king. So not the worst in the world, but we are down a lot of time playing a little bit of a stronger opponent, and we need to find that breakthrough. Also notice that white kind of wants all the action to happen over on this side of the board. I want all the action to happen over on this side of the board. So they're going to try to come break this open, maybe get a rook in. And my plan is going to be to ignore that as much as possible and attack them as much as possible. This is similar to like an opposite sides castle game. Okay, they finally play h3, preventing some knight ideas potentially. I could still actually go like knight here probably at some point. Let's see. I think now is the moment for knight h7. I'm just going to play it. My idea here, now that I have the rook here, adding a little extra defense or attack on the g5 square. After they retreat, I can play g5 myself. If they take, I can take with the knight. I do need to like watch out for maybe some rook getting trapped ideas. And actually, the rook will be hanging after I push this pawn, but we're okay because we're going to recapture with the knight, which will redefend the rook. So yeah, my plan here is maybe to get a rook on the g file pointed at the king. And also I need a little bit more space to kind of like get my pieces mobilized. So yeah, knight takes. And now, I mean, I'm liking my chances a little bit better. Yeah, like we're going to get this rook here maybe. Queen up, rook over. Okay, rook recapture, threatening to win the h3 pawn because of this pin. e4, discovered attack on my rook. Oh, that's very clever, because normally they can never make this push because I have the double clamp, but they got this discovery. But do we have maybe like queen takes, check, king runs, maybe not. And part of the problem is this comes with check. So like I can't like try to take because they just take with check. Well, actually, okay, takes, check, king comes here. At a minimum, we have check, forking the king and the bishop, and we get the bishop back. So we're getting the pawn and the bishop for the rook. And the king actually has to come back there because it's like a dovetail construction. And then we're going to swing. Yeah, let's go for this. Okay, so queen takes h3. After they take this rook, we have check. Oh, I forgot this is check. No. Oh, no. Oh, man, that was really bad. Okay. Basically only move. Pawn takes. Oof. I mean, I need to go for this. This is, I mean, this is game over. They just take the queen, so. We'll make him play out a few more moves, but I mean, even this is, I'm normally the one who never gives up, but this is pretty ridiculous. I lost my rook and my queen in one move. Pretty bad. Oof, true. Yeah, and I realized they could have even taken this pawn as well. I mean, now I'm just curious how they're going to mate me. So we're going to play it out just kind of for that aspect, but it's clearly over. I think they can take here. I mean, you could also even just like sack and then like take here. Just simplify. If I were them, I would sack, take, and I think mate's like unstoppable there pretty much. I guess I have like rook here, but I think I'm probably getting some mating ideas there as white. How would you guys finish this out as white? Okay, they go for the sack. Would you guys have played that, or were there any other moves? Let me know. But yeah, I think this is... Oh, I didn't see the rook in. Bringing all the pieces in. Look at this clinic by our opponent. If I go here, it's mate in 1. If I go here, it's mate in 2. Check. I go here, and then... Oh, okay, well, they can also win this rook, which might be what they're thinking. Slightly inaccurate finish by our opponent. Oh, actually, that might have been mate right there. It's still mate. Or no, now the bishop's loose, so... is there a mate? Now it's mate? I think it's mate. Okay. There it is. If you guys enjoyed that, make sure to drop a like on the video. I'll take a look at the analysis. I don't know if there's going to be any meaningful things here. Let's see. I think I just blundered. So, all right, we're going to flip through really quick. There's really, I think it boiled down to my opponent just found like a really nice tactic. And I also compounded it and blundered in that moment. But like they did a good job. So here they say f4 is already a mistake, which, yeah, it just doesn't quite seem right to me. But yeah, just developing the pieces. I did consider c5 at some point. This is the normal break you're going to go for in queen's pawn games, but I didn't play it in this game, but that's good to know for next time. But yeah, kind of normal-ish stuff from here. You know, I'm not going to go through all the details of this. I think a lot of this was very subtle. Bringing my knight back was probably inefficient. I agree with the computer, like just rook h8. If they take, it's fine. We get like kind of a strong closed pawn structure. So yeah, a little inefficient by me. And I also underestimated the strength of this knight check on this square. So yeah, good play by my opponent. Yeah, play continues from here. And they didn't like this move. Yeah, they said let's stack up basically, and maybe I sack the exchange or something like that, which makes sense. My plan, I liked my plan, except for the fact that they have this like really nice tactic, getting the discovered attack on my rook, and pretty much from here, like no matter what you do, you're kind of just cooked here. Like I was thinking like, okay, maybe I bring the rook back or bring the rook up to kind of like maintain this pressure. The problem is after they recapture, even if you recapture, like they just have way too much pressure. My king is in the middle. They can take here. The pawn is pinned. They're getting ready to take here. The computer's saying, just give up your bishop, bro. You're about to get destroyed. So yeah, it's even if you like drop back, probably similar deal. I was looking at this cap. Yeah, same issue basically. They say maybe you can take here, but like what they say, oh yeah, because you can't recapture this way because then they're gonna take here, whatever. It's no bueno. So I mean, overall I liked my idea here to try to like get things mobilized. I just overlooked that in this position they would have a discovery, and I mean that was a pretty deep line. So like my plan was like, okay, knight here, knight back, pawn up, take, knight take, recapture. And I just didn't look deeply enough in that position to see like, oh, they could do this. Because in my mind, actually maybe this is a learning experience, because I'd kind of mentally ruled out that this pawn could move because I had this double clamp. So maybe I need to be a little more flexibly thinking there. But also, I just don't think I looked that deeply in that position. Like I was just like, okay, I have this, I have this. So yeah, I should have respected my opponent's threats a little bit more there, or been a little bit more curious about what my opponent might do right after that, since there is, you know, maybe some X-ray ideas and stuff. So yeah, and then, I mean, from there, I did make one of the worst moves and blunder both my rook and my queen immediately. So I would recommend that you guys don't do that. You know, you can do it if you want, but it might end up in things like this. So that's it. I still had fun. I still brushed off a little bit of the cobwebs. It's been 3 weeks since my last game. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot.